Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Nexiphor Cast, where we highlight forward-thinking leaders who are shaping the industry. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of inviting the managing partner of Magnorum Realty, James McDonald. James, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. James, can you give us an introduction about yourself and tell us how you got started in this business in the first place?
Well, that's an interesting question. I've led a listen, as an adult, was a bit eclectic in my lifestyle. Started off years ago when I finished my degree in sales, direct sales, business to business, and eventually found my way into a classroom teaching math as an educator. Eventually spent 20 years in the education industry, retired about 3 years ago last May. Prior to that retirement, my wife and I had started flipping houses and building rental properties, but mostly flipping. And so from there, actually, it was through the first flip we did. When I analyzed from acquisition to disposition, I wanted to try to control cost if I could. So one of the things that's from there, from the buy to the sell, is real estate commissions. So I approached my brother, who was a broker for another broker at the time, about us starting our own real estate agency. Was in 2018. And he's like, okay, cool. So we started the agency. Took me a year to get my license because I was still working full time. And then, so by 2019, I became licensed, and just started continuing flipping houses at the time. And, really with the intent to eventually build out a property management portion of the business too. And so fast forward to that May when I retired, um, I got the crazy idea, let's expand the business. We had
Nice.
I guess we'd already gotten a couple of owners. Um, or I think that falls when we got our first couple of owners that we started managing properties, but we started adding agents. And so we're now up to one, two, three, four, five, six agents, and we just added an
Awesome.
agent down in San Antonio, Texas.
No.
So we're I don't know that we've made it, but I would say we're on our way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we started. It wasn't, I guess it's one of those things you could say, unintended consequences of deciding to be a real estate investor. Um, some would argue that wasn't the best move to be an agent because there's more
Mhm.
accountability as an investor when you're a real estate agent. But for me, it just made sense. So,
Yeah, and as I can see, I like to have a balanced growth. Like as I can see, it's like going so far so good, right?
yes, I mean, absolutely. So, um, we just recently, over the summer, not to put a damper on our discussion, my brother passed away, and really the partnership in the brokerage was my brother, myself, and my wife. Um, and so when he passed, I wanted to expand and grow. So we brought some partners on, which has given us some capital to go out and start really getting aggressive with some of the things we're doing as an agency. So we've updated a brand new lead capturing website. We've got our new CRM that we're implementing, and starting to do a little bit of marketing, doing some partnering. So really in a growth, I'd say probably now more of a growth mode than we've ever been before. So super excited about what we're doing. I mean, I get up every day and listen, all I'm thinking about, okay, how can we do this? How can we add agents? How can we expand
Awesome.
our exposure? How can I get my current agents more effective at what they're doing and get their production up? Um, so
Yeah,
at 61, fixing to turn 62, you could say I'm starting a brand new career, if you will. So
yeah. Yeah, first of all, sorry about hearing that. As you mentioned about your brother.
thank you.
And as you have like a pretty diverse career, I can say like in education, and I know like off the record you were also military, and now you like jumping in real estate. Can you walk us through the journey? Like, what are some like lessons you learned during those past experience that are shaping your personality and your actions in real estate today?
That's a fantastic question because I'm a firm believer that our experiences truly shape us in everything we do. Um, I think the military portion of it certainly gave me. I think I've always was a pretty disciplined kid.
Yeah,
I learned pretty quickly with my parents, as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it, where I'm supposed to do it, I could pretty much do whatever I want to do. So I was fairly disciplined, but I think the Army really enhanced that, focused that, really built that mission first concept.
yeah,
Um, and then, so that really kind of refined how I approach my clients, and our brokerage for that matter. But then, of course, having that background of sales already, which is kind of customer service focused, solving problems, if you will, and then following that up with education background. And I've always said, even when I first started in education, even though when I was teaching algebra one and freshman, I'm still a salesman. The
yeah,
difference is what product I'm selling. Now I'm trying to convince 14-year-olds that algebra is awesome and you really do use it every day. So it just varied. So I think that made me a little more well-rounded in my perspective on how to approach things. But again, education is all about, it's a customer service based. Unfortunately, not a lot of people see it that way, but that truly is. Whether it's a parent,
yeah.
whether it's a kid, you're trying to help them fix problems, solve problems, improve them. And so real estate is just a natural extension of that too. So I think those two things have really kind of, between the discipline from the military, the mission first concept, and then also that customer service refinement that I got out of education, have really kind of created the guy I am today.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's wonderful. So as you were talking also about the vision of your company, so you've got investing, brokerage, and the property management all under one roof, I can say. How do these
Okay.
pieces fit together in your overall vision for Magnorum? I can ask.
Well, and it's a bit of an unusual, at least in Texas. I won't speak for any other place. Or
Of
I'll
course.
let me refine it even more. Let's say North Texas. A lot of brokerages don't want to necessarily be on the property management side because it can have additional headaches, challenges with license and stuff like that. But for me, it does a couple of things. It doesn't limit, it kind of expands our potential revenue streams. Plus, we're able to not just help investors buy and sell, we can also help them manage that piece. I go to a lot of real estate meetups, where realtors are coming in and they're showcasing houses and stuff like that. And it really kind of boggles my mind the number of agents that their brokerage does not allow them to pursue property
Yeah.
management. So, what I tell them is that I'm just another asset for you to help service your clients. Let me help you take care of them, and so they remain your clients. We're just doing the property management for them. So for me,
Yeah.
that's really it. It expands our ability to generate revenue, but it also expands our ability to help take care of our clients.
Nice. And like from your point, from your perspective, what are like the biggest trends you're seeing in your local real estate market right now?
That's interesting. Well, and I don't think this will shock you. I think honestly, the implementation of AI in
Yeah,
our
sure.
business, and I don't know that that's a North Texas thing. That's probably a state, national function. I tell my agents every day, if you're not using AI of some form, you you're already behind, because
Yeah,
it
of course.
can impact your productivity. It refines your professionalism, especially once you get it to where it's trained, it understands your voice, your mission, the way you think of things. It really does start producing things refined. That's your concept. It just gets refined, and you do it at a much higher, faster, more efficient level.
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree. I think like the automation overall is like the one thing that keeps like ahead of the competition, because I think like most of the like leaders are still scared, to implement them in their business because they still like need that full personal touch.
Yes.
And they are not like investing yet. But I personally think that investing now in automation is like investing in Bitcoin in the past, because in the next 2 to 5 years, every business have to be automated if you want to stay on the same level as the top companies, of course, and maybe why not be ahead of the competition? So yeah, I fully agree with you with that part. And
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree. I mean, it's
Yeah,
truly whether you're on the investor side or whether you're a broker, real estate agency, or whatever, you've got to have your policies and your procedures down. And especially on the investor side, it really does get to a point you need to get to such a refined point that even your contractors know they're going to come in when they buy a house, they're going to do this, 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 and this, and it's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Same thing on the brokerage side.
yeah.
That's the only way you become efficient and you get effective at what you're doing, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree in you. And I'd like to ask you something. If you compare like today and when you first started in 2018, how has the game changed for investors and the small for small brokers, let's say?
Oh, yeah, well, right now it's really so still dependent on market.
Yeah,
Um, my ability to find a deal as an investor in 2018, 2019, it was so much easier. For example, the very first deal we did, I paid $35,000 for that. It's 1,000 square foot home. Paid $35,000 for it. We
yeah,
put, I think we put 70K in the rehab, and then we turned around and sold that house for $130,000. Not a bad little profit for someone who really didn't know what they were doing at the time. But funny story is that same house in today's market, I wouldn't have been able to touch unless I paid about $130,000. So that's the biggest game changer for me right now in the market, on the investor side. It's much more challenging to find those deals, and to keep that. In fact, most investors I know have even modified their models to where to factor that in, because the other side of that is also the whole time on the real estate market, at least in North Texas, that what would have turned in maybe 30 days, in 2021, 22, that's at least going to be probably 160 to 180 days before it turns, if it turns. So, you have to be very critical on your pricing strategies, your costs with regards to what you spend for your rehab.
yeah.
You just have to be a little more diligent with your follow through. You can't be willy nilly on what you're doing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And like from your perspective, how much do you think other agencies like around your local market are like evolving other technology part or like using it at its full capacity?
Well, I think in my market where I primary focus, which is Wise County, not we service all of the North Texas, Dallas Fort Worth area, but we're located, and all of our agents really, with the exception of our San Antonio lady, we're all in Wise County. I don't know an agency in the market, at least the bigger ones, that aren't using technology.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Um, and so has it forced the older guys like me to get on board? Absolutely. Now I will say this. I've always been an early adapter, even from the early ages. Listen, I go all the way back to Windows 3.1 when I first started dealing with technology. So that tells you how long I've been
Yeah.
adapting technology.
Yeah, I
So,
can tell.
well, to even take it even a few years before that, I took a
Yeah.
programming class and it was punch cards. So
Yeah,
that's
really.
kind of where I started. Um, but I early on, I saw the value of technology. So without a doubt. So, but I think everybody I know that's in my market is using technology. Everybody.
Right. And from like the client perspective, how much do you think the client expectation have changed? And as we now have this AI and this technology evolved, how hard was for, let's say, your client or maybe the clients overall in this industry to adapt to these changes?
For the clients, I don't think it really has been a big challenge for them, because I don't know at times that they really are even aware that the agent or the agency is using the technology that they're using. Um, but what I have seen with technology on their side, so what's happening, if you go look at the data,
Yeah,
on the buy, when you start breaking down where do people find their agent, on the buyer side, it's 40% of those buyers are getting using a referral to find their agent. Sellers are like 39%. So the majority of those are using a referral. Then they go online or use some form of technology online to confirm. So, in other words, Bob says, I'm the guy, right? Well, now they're going to go online and confirm. what Bob says, that I'm the guy.
Yeah,
So that's where the technology really kicks in on the agent side, because if you're being effective with your social media posting, which is, as you and I both know, you can take Chat GPT, for example, and say, hey, I want a 30-day marketing plan for all social media platforms. I want to
yeah,
break out to where I post 2 times a week with market updates or whatever, and 1 day a week I want to do videos. And it will break all that out, script all that out, and you become very, very effective, and especially once it gets to learn your voice, which
yeah,
is what
absolutely.
which I do every single week now. That's our biggest piece. One of our biggest pieces of our marketing is that social media, and that presence online, and that efficient, effective presence online, which is through technology, helps verify that we're the guy, right? That we're the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
person that the referral says we are.
Yeah, and as I can see, like you are pretty familiar and have knowledge of the technology, and I can say in this whole AI automation stuff. What are some, let's say, some tasks or some frustrating things that you automated so far? I mean, in your business.
Well, okay, so hmm. Well, really, my social media is one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
All my personal one and the brokerage stuff is more or less automated. I have it down. I'll go in and it knows on Monday I'm doing this, on Fridays I'm doing this, and on Wednesday I want to do some kind of video marketing update or special or focus on something particular. And so I'll go in and say, okay, let's write, and I'll do what's called a Monday motivation on Monday. Let's write a Monday
yeah,
motivation. It'll automatically spit out 4 topics. It knows I want a quote. It knows I want to document who the quote's from, whether it's old school Zig Ziglar or Mahatma Gandhi or whoever it is, right? And then it also knows I want my post to be SEO optimized with minimum hashtags.
yeah,
And it knows there's certain hashtags I want on every post. And then it just boom, 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 boom. And then all I have to do is it gives me an A, B, C, D. And I want A. Boom. And it flushes it out. Now maybe I have to tweak it a little bit. You can't go
mm-hmm.
blindly into it,
Yeah,
but it does, it produces it so efficiently. And so, man, it's kind of crazy that people don't use it. So um I have one particular agent. When I first started talking to her about using chat specifically, she was like, "Oh, no, nope, 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 ain't doing that. Don't trust it. Nope, 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 nope." And just the other day, she's got 2 years of experience. We were at a luncheon, and she referenced using chat and how she's using it every day now. And I'm like, uh-huh, see, I told you. And she just laughed. She said, I know. And I'm like, it's just, but again, you can't do it blindly. A- And I learned, funny story, if you don't mind, I learned it on my very first listing that I ever had that wasn't my listing, right? The first listing, it was a friend of mine who called me, hey, will you help me list my house? Yes, I will do that. So I go to chat. I'm telling you, I want to do, here's the particulars of the house. Write me this, and I'll say, write me a property description with X amount of characters. And then I just copied and pasted it into MLS. I didn't read it.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So just copy and paste. So fast forward, it's listing, we're getting some showings, and I get a call from an agent. He's like, James, the house definitely needs work, which it did, and we posted it that way. But my client's interested. He was an investor, but we couldn't find the basement. Where's the basement? I'm like, what are you talking about? He said the house is supposed to have a basement. I was like, what house do you know in Texas has a basement? He's like, well, the listing said it did. I'm like, oh, that's on me. There's no
Yeah.
basement, I promise. So I had to go back and first lesson. So
Yeah,
make sure
yeah,
you
yeah.
read it and verify. So yeah, it was a little embarrassing, like I was a rookie or something. But anyway, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, things that happens and you can always like learn from those, which is
Yeah.
a great stuff. And I've seen like a lot of people, including myself, who like have gone through the same thing, which is like blindly automated stuff. And when you see the post, it has like the content, and in the end we'll post like, do you want to add something else? Like type yes if you want to add maybe this section. And this
Yes.
was published on live LinkedIn, I can say
Yes.
blindly.
You're like, so, um, we also I got asked to be on this committee to review, and I'm not gonna name names, but I got asked to review, these grants that
Yeah.
got applied, right? And so I'm reading this one, and it was a great grant, well written, but it was obviously he just copied and pasted because up at the front, it said, "Insert your name." It
Yeah.
had it just like that, "Insert your name." So he didn't he just copied and pasted. I'm like, "Listen," I had to ding him on points because I'm like, "Dude, at least read your own, this is your grant. You should be
Yeah.
knowing what it says." I mean, it was an awesome grant, but I'm like, I can't give you full 100% credit here because you didn't even read it. So, but it is funny when you see those.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
and it, honestly, there was another situation. I think I posted this because I did it on my phone, which most of the time when I'm really doing my social media stuff, I do it at my desktop. But I did it on my phone, and when I hit the copy and then I pasted it online, I didn't go back and really look that it asked at that bottom, "Do you have anything else you want to add?" Or I can refine this way. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
crap, I had to go back. So yeah, but it's such a time saver, and it can be more effective at what you're trying to do. And it gives you a little more polished professional feel once you kind of get it to get your voice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and like as you've been in the business for a long time now, and you've done some of the automation. What are some, I can say, operational challenges that you are facing, maybe repetitive tasks, frustrating things that you would maybe also would want to automate? That you would know that with those fixed or automated, your business can scale even faster, even further, and get more clients, more money.
That's an interesting question that I haven't even asked myself. Um, I think one of the things, well, I guess really what I'm currently doing, which is the two things, really looking at revising our marketing plan for 2026, but also revising our training, everything we're
Yeah,
doing with agent training. Um, Up till now, I've kind of, and listen, it tends to be kind of my way of doing things. Not that it's the best, but it works for me.
yeah, of course.
I tailor training to the agent. You know, if I've got an
Okay.
agent who doesn't want, hasn't asked me for help, then I'm not doing anything for them, right? Um, or they call me and I'm just helping them refine some information. But now we actually have, through automation, we have a training manual that,
Yeah,
again, taking my concepts and then looking at some other best practices. So now I've got a great instructional manual that I can sit down with any agent to enhance them. We've got a business model that we can help them create so they build a roadmap for success. And then, even to the point now, I've got a 32-page manual that has scripts for them to
yeah,
learn. Again, I didn't write all that because, man, that would take me decades to do that.
of
But
course.
using AI allowed me to create those scripts, and not only the scripts, but kinda, if you will, an if-then statement. If they say this, here's your
You
response.
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like with
so
charts.
yes, so it's, to me, it 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 does a couple of things. Obviously, it helps us make our agents a little more effective and efficient at what they're doing, especially every agent we have other than 2, when they started with us, were brand new agents. I mean, fresh out of school. So, and never really, and yeah, none of them had sales experience.
Yeah,
So things don't necessarily always come natural to you as a salesperson if you never sold, right? So this gives us that, but it also, what it does, it allows us to be able to go to new agents and recruit. Hey, here's the thing. We have this, we have this, we have this, we have scripts, we have this, we have automated templates for you to be able to use that AI creates to be able to go in and help build your marketing brand, or your brand for your marketing. So those are all assets that we can provide when we're talking to agents about coming on board. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think, to me, that's really where I have, at least most recently, trying to use automated tools to get better in those areas. 'Cause I am
yeah.
just
And that.
me.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
anybody else that I can say, "Hey, pick this task up," or anything like that, so
Yeah, and I think maybe that's like a huge reason for you to automate more stuff since you're like yourself. Because I think I saw in real estate because as I speak with different guests in my podcast and all of those are like yourself, like real estate leaders, they are using like automation in different kind of areas, from customer support to lead generation to lead qualification, repetitive tasks, onboarding, like client portals. Like one of the simplest thing I've seen which can sound super simple, but like a game changer. It's like for customer support, the AI chatbot, which a lot of companies like integrated within their website. So every time like a new user, let's say a new potential client will just like open your website and just like, browse through the website, see your services, your properties, all of these, they all just like will log all of these movements. So you don't have like to hire an extra agent just to keep with customer support because the AI will greet the potential client and also can ask questions. So if instead of like hiring the agent, which will spend maybe 2 hours trying to qualify the leads, answering the leads questions, the AI will do it instead of him and also within seconds. Because one of the things I've noticed that it's like it's losing, I can say, companies' money is speed. Because me as a client, if I try, let's say, to hire you or I'm looking for a property overall, and I have a question because I cannot pay or invest without knowing, as you mentioned, does it have a property, does it have a basement? Can I stay with three people, let's say? But if I didn't get to respond within seconds, I'm gone. I'm going to the
Yep.
next one on the list. And this is why AI in this part has like changed the game because the AI will respond in seconds. Will get like great. It will get like correct data, so it not like misinform the client, and also will qualify the lead because let's say you as the owner, you maybe spend 2 to 3 hours talking to a client, and in the end, he's not the right one, you know.
Yep.
And all the AI will qualify it. You will fully qualify it, and if he's the right one, he can either book a call, he can either transfer the call to you as the owner, so you don't have to deal with this. And this is only like a simple things people are doing in automation. So I think it's like a game changer overall.
And I appreciate you mentioning that because that's one of the biggest things we did when we changed our website because we
Nice.
have that piece. Now, in fact, honestly, after doing a little bit of review, we're going to try to, I'm going to ask them to flush it out a little bit more. They're capturing some information, which is better than what we've ever done before, but we want to go a little deeper than what we currently are. So, but it's a great point, which I appreciate you mentioning because I had totally forgot that was part of kind of why we went with who we went with our website. Because I sat down and probably talked to 4 designers, web designers, and it was one of the things that was I was like, that's a game changer to be able to have that, and I knew I needed it, but they were the most effective at building it. So,
Of
and
course.
honestly, the cool thing about it, I've already got our first client through the website.
Nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not to brag, it's actually my first $1 million plus listing. So,
Nice.
yes, I'm super stoked. Now, the problem is in our area, it's undeveloped land, which means it's going to take a while to turn, but still, I'm like, but it came straight. I mean, literally our new website was up, and I think through on the second day, we got the I got the lead. So, but you mentioned it, the biggest piece there, it's time. We've become such a society of we want instant gratification. And if you
Yeah.
don't do that, you lose that, which has always boggled me when you have in my field in real estate, and you'll have agents who might take a full day to return a phone call. And I'm
Yeah.
like, listen, if it's just me as an agent calling an agent, okay, fine. But on the other side, if it's a potential client and you take that long, they're probably moved on by the time you do return that phone call. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully understand and respect their agents need to have boundaries. They want a life too.
Sure.
But on the other side, because of our society where it's at, if you're not responding quickly, you're losing.
Yeah, that's
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, speed is the key in this part. As we
Yep.
were talking about the AI chatbot, there are interesting, cool features that, let's say you in this case, as you mentioned, got the client from the website, right? So in this case, like you get the traffic from the website, but sometimes you get traffic, let's say from Facebook. Sometimes you get from WhatsApp. Sometimes you get maybe from emails. And what like the automation can do, like you can create like just one dashboard, let's say on one CRM, and like you can connect all 5 to 6 channels to just one of those. So let's say you got like a lead right into you, either on WhatsApp, either on WhatsApp, either on website, email, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, it doesn't matter. The AI, the same AI can be like, can respond back to every one of these. And it will log the chat within the same dashboard. So you don't have like to create 5 to 6 different automations to handle all of these channels as I mentioned, but you can use the same dashboard or the same CRM, the same AI bot, and respond back to 5 plus channels at once. And in the dashboard, you can see from which channel you got like the most traffic. And based on these, you as a founder will know where to put ads. Because if you see like you didn't get much message from WhatsApp, maybe or website, you got it more from Facebook Messenger. That means, okay, I got to put more money ads on Facebook. So overall, it's like win-win, win-win, win-win from overall.
Okay. Listen, you just taught me something. I hadn't
It's
thought of it.
possible.
It makes total sense, but I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought about trying to do that chatbot, although I know they're there.
Hmm.
Listen, sometimes I'm that guy, I don't see the forest for the trees, right? Or I don't see the trees because of the forest. So
Of course.
I listen, I appreciate it because now you're going to cause me to go, I got to go dig some more. I'm going to have to go do some research and try to figure out how to incorporate all that. So, um, that it's a great point because of course, I've done WhatsApp before. Actually, I've used that for business purposes when I was in
Hmm.
education. We use that as a communication tool through our school administration. But, we, yeah, okay. Listen, I
Right. As,
like
as I
that.
mentioned, from one dashboard, from one CRM, you can see everything who did chats, all the chats, all the scripts. And let's say like you are online, maybe you are just on desk and you can see it live, like people writing before they click send. You can like see like thoughts. And like, if you want like to take over, so okay, you think that this client maybe is a hot lead. You don't want to risk like letting the AI do like the end close. You can just like click a button, the AI will fall back, and you can jump in. You can write all in all of these platforms at once, and you can close the deal from one
I don't,
dashboard.
I don't know. I'd have to do a little digging. I'm not sure that's being used a lot in my area. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time
Overall.
I'm, but I wonder because that's a huge impact. Because honestly, most people, agents are spending a ton of time with their social media. It is their primary avenue for marketing.
Of
Whether
course.
it's whether it's a new listing or a price reduction. I mean, you're not only doing it on your personal Facebook page, you're doing it on your professional page, you're doing it on your brokerage page, you're sharing it to groups. I mean, it's a big piece of everybody's marketing. I'm not sure how many are, I'm sure some of the bigger companies probably are doing that.
Yeah.
Um, but the smaller independent guys like me, I'm not sure. And that could be a huge game changer.
Yeah, it
Thank
can because most, yeah, absolutely, like most of the, I can say people aren't familiar with this because no one thought that you can like connect 5 to 10 channels within one dashboard. This is like the interesting part because you can automate every single one like separate. Yeah, that's possible. Like only WhatsApp, only Facebook. And I'm talking about your company's Facebook page, maybe not your personal one, but you can connect your
you.
company Facebook page and the AI will respond back as a company user, let's say. And this is why most of the people doesn't know because it seems interesting to gather all of these in dashboard, and I'm telling you that it's possible, and it's like a game changer. And this is just the simplest thing because you can also, let's say you have your website, and I've seen it, you've done like a beautiful advanced website. So let's say now the user is on service page, it's an about us page or a contacts page. The AI will know that. And based on the page you are, he will just like pop up a different kind of message. How can I help you in services if you are in services? If you are like on a particular property, maybe somewhere in local, he will help you with information only for that property. So it's fully game changer and super, super advanced. And this is just like the simple stuff that can be done.
Listen, we've kind of gotten to a point in our lives or in our stage of evolution, if you will.
Yeah.
If you can kind of think it, It's really
Yeah.
pretty much possible is what
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of where we're at. So I remember early on in my man, I was in my early 20s. I was reading a book. God, I'm trying to remember which book it was. Um, I don't remember. I think it was the guy who, and I don't remember names now, but I think it was the founder of Avis Rent-A-Car.
Okay.
Um, which I'm not even sure they're around anymore, but the company, before it went public, he created it. But in his book, and this was the early 80s. Now remember, this would have been 82, 83, 84 time frame. He was talking about, and I thought it was such a futuristic concept that he thought at some point in time, if we think it, it's going to happen. It's going to
Yeah.
not, and I don't mean physically manifest itself. Well, I guess I do. I don't mean that if I think it, I can make my body do it. Not that kind of thing. If I think I want a hot dog,
Yeah.
then the hot dog was going to do, which is essentially basically talking about DoorDash, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Uber Eats. I mean, so hey, I want a hamburger. Let me call DoorDash, and then it's there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it that, and in my, I remember reading the book, going, no, no. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a cool idea, but I'm like, there's no way I'm going to say I want a hamburger and it suddenly manifests. I mean, that's Star Trek stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or Star Wars things. So I don't know, but that's really where we're at. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
I
cool.
agree.
But here's, I think, the other challenge, at least I think for some people, and I'll even go and define it a little bit more and say maybe older generations. Things move at such a fast pace now, man. I mean, because honestly, the concepts that were very effective last year might be old hat and passe now. So you really have to stay in touch and keep involved, keep your finger on the pulse to be able to keep up if you want to be competitive in this business world.
Yeah. I fully agree. Okay. So, James, it was a very fun, insightful, and inspirational conversation. I thank you very much for being part of this podcast. And for everyone who is watching, keep growing, keep thriving, and I will see you on the next episode.